Hey guys, welcome to another episode of our podcast series, Artist Development. Artist Development is a series where we speak with numerous people from creative industries, hoping that what they share with us we can pass on to you. My name is Pepe and today we are speaking with Daren Dixon. So Darren has been a friend of Reload Sessions for a few years. We've collaborated on a few projects, but we thought that this was the perfect opportunity to bring him in and talk with him about what he does. Having worked in the industry since he was 17 years old, Darren went on to work with household names such as Beyonce, Rihanna and Kerry Hilson. We talk about how the industry has changed, how to get your music noticed, and more importantly, how important social media is in today's day and age. So this is a great podcast for artists who are trying to get into the industry or people who are trying to get their content noticed. So with that in mind, let's get straight to it. So I'm here today with Daren Dixon. Darren is somebody that we have known for a while and is a good friend of the channel. And Darren is somebody who has got us numerous contacts and has helped push the channel in the earlier days of Reload Sessions. But what exactly do you do? How would you best put what you do? We know you work with brands, we know you work with artists, we know you've done some work with labels in the past, but how would you describe exactly what you do, Darren?
Hi everybody, and thanks for the introduction, Pep. What I would say that I am is, first and foremost, I'm a creative myself,
right.
But rather than being a creative as in terms of an artist or a singer or anything like that, I'm more so a creative manager. So therefore my job is to look at the creative opportunities of anything, whether it's a brand activation or a talent activation, and then see the possibilities and connect the dots, really.
Right.
So, first of all, I just think I've got a creative brain, but I'm more the behind-the-scenes creative rather than the upfront creative person.
Right. I mean, it's something I've always, when I talk about you, I always use that phrase, you're somebody who connects the dots.
Yeah.
So I often get the impression that you'll see someone or you'll see a cool brand or a cool artist and you'll say, you know what, those two should work together.
Absolutely. And sometimes you might see a brand campaign going on, and then I'll be the person then contacts the brand, makes a relationship with the brand, and then starts piecing them or pairing them together with people who I think are the best next influencers or models or presenters or whatever opportunities that I think connects the dots.
Right. And I touched on it briefly there a second ago. I mentioned that you worked for a label before. So do you want to take a minute just to explain to me how you got where you are right now and what it is exactly that you're doing right now?
So we're going way back in time. But I started as an intern, which is a great grounding for me. I started off an intern at Sony Music, at Columbia Records in the black music department for Columbia Records, and I worked with a guy called Matt Ross and Nadir Contractor, two guys who gave me my first break into the music business. I was an intern. I literally worked my way up, literally going from making cups of teas to filling photocopying paper to just doing the most mundane things ever.
Right.
And then Matt then invited me, 4 months into my internship, Matt then kindly invited me to see a girl band came over from America, mm-hmm. and kindly invited me to come down with him, and I was just happy he was talking to me, to be fair. And that girl band was Destiny's Child. So wow. he got me, Matt, who was the director of the marketing department, he then let me, as an intern, cut my teeth as in terms of get involved with Destiny's Child, because no one thought they were going to be as big as they were and are. And I really got involved with like all parts of, from coming up with promo ideas to where they should perform. And at that point, which I must have been about 17 then, at that age I learned that, oh my God, I can bring my ideas to light. So, if I saw at that point that Topshop was a great place for people that would buy their records, let's do a performance in Topshop. Who do we contact? Oh, you contact the press person or the marketing person.
Right.
Okay, cool. How did we make this happen? And then you make things happen. So at that young age, I decided I managed to work with a massive artist,
yeah.
and a massive band like them. Got a great relationship with them, and they kind of gave me my break with everything.
And this was before Writings on the Wall from them?
This was Writings on the Wall. Good point. This was on Writings on the Wall. So Writings on the Wall. I worked on that album. just done the grass level things, just
Right.
grass level things. Come up with ideas and sticker ideas and campaign ideas and where should they perform and what channels
Sure.
they should perform on, things like that.
Sure.
But kind of learning it ad hoc, really, and then from that basis, then Matt and Nadir got me involved in. They worked with Will Smith and Lauryn Hill, Fugees, Black Ivory, Jennifer Lopez, Will Smith, so many different bands. And I got exposure and I got to work and shadow with great marketing people that had such an amazing ability to kind of just take something and create something else or just pitch ideas. And I literally was like a sponge, so I followed them because they were the marketing people with all these artists, and I literally emulated them.
Sure.
They were my role models.
I mean, you were such a young age that it's going to be something that you pick up quite quickly on.
Totally. Such a young age, but you're in this massive matrix,
Yeah.
which is called the music industry.
Yeah.
And you don't know what is a product manager. Is a product manager a marketing manager? Yeah, it's the same thing. Okay, why is it called the same? Like, so many different things. What's the A&R? What does that mean? What's the A&R scout? What does that mean? Or what does the PR does? What does the press does? Like, you're having to learn everything on the go. But, I think what helped me in a weird way is my parents were going through a divorce at the time. And I literally, as an intern, was the first one in because I didn't want to be at home. I was the first one in and I was the last one out, and sometimes slept in the boardroom.
Really?
So yeah, waking up with a promo t-shirt that I'd borrowed and a big line through it was a bit obvious, but I had the passion to want to do it, and for me as an intern, I knew I had 6 months to a year as an internship, and I just wanted by the end of the term that I was an intern for them to say, no, you're not going, we want to keep you because I made myself really indispensable,
Sure.
So, which I'd done. And when it came time for me to actually say I can't do this for free or expenses anymore, they offered me a gig, and the gig, my boss was then moved from the marketing department. He moved to being an A&R manager, and then I became an A&R scout. And I remember that at that age, learning to connect the dots and making friends. Well, one of my good friends were in All Saints, and I remember seeing Craig David, making friends with Craig David, and thinking he is amazing, and then organising a showcase. This is as a junior A&R scout, organising a showcase for the rest of Columbia Records to see Craig, and then there's a guy called Blair McDonald who was the MD of Columbia at the time, and he said, no, I don't believe in them, I'm passing them. And then I remember
Craig David.
I remember. And then I still kept cool with Craig because he knew that I really wanted to work with him. And then literally it was like 2 weeks later, three weeks later after we passed, Craig was number one and on every single newspaper as the best new thing.
Wow.
So at that point I was like, I'm right, I know my ability. You trust yourself a bit more. So at that point I accepted an offer for an independent label, which was quite a lot of money, but they paid me quite well. But I accepted the offer to become my own A&R rather than scouting and bringing people for Edel Records, who famously had a single called Who Lets the Dogs Out.
Okay. And was that part of your doing?
Well, no, definitely not.
No, you weren't responsible for that.
I wasn't responsible for that.
Okay.
But I would say Edel Records, being at Edel Records was the best and worst experience of my life, because I came from working in a major label where everything was there, massive building, being at Sony, being brought up as a Sony kid, if you want to call it, working intern level, to being in a place with it's just a room, and it was a rough independent label. But I learnt loads there.
And was there anybody on their roster that you took a liking to, or you believed in?
No, not really.
Okay.
I took the gig for money. Which is a lesson. That's why I never take things just based on money. Always take things based on your actual love for things. And obviously there's a financial reward for things, but I think you have to love things first and then think about the financial.
Sure.
So done that. I only lasted there 6 months, and I was out and fired there because I just wasn't passionate. I wasn't good.
So you're not going to perform when you don't have that passion. You're not.
You don't. If you're just collecting a check and just doing as much lunches as possible because you don't really believe in what you're doing, just spending money, you're never going to get the right results. People will always see through your passion. Always see through your passion. And they'll always see they'll always see if that person is really real about what they're doing. So I got fired there, and I remember having to give back the laptop that I thought was mine.
Oh no!
Giving back the phone, giving back all these things.
What year are we talking here?
I can't even remember. I can't even remember. At least now it'll be at least 15, 20 years ago. So
okay. Okay. So late 90s.
Late 90s. Giving everything back, and like that kind of humiliating kind of, oh my God, I'm leaving this building with nothing.
Yeah.
But I always remember going home jobless, and then the phone not ringing. My phone was like hundreds of phone calls a day.
Yeah.
And I remember, you're being a little bit embarrassed that other people know that you got fired, which obviously word travels quite quickly.
Right.
But then your phone not ringing. And I remember picking up the phone and ringing 02. Picking up the phone and ringing 02, and like after 4 days, I was like, why isn't my phone ringing? And I thought something was wrong with my phone, but it was nothing was wrong with my phone. It was just that you have industry friends and real friends. Right. And I for a moment for that time kind of got bought into the whole industry friends. Industry friends were my real friends. So therefore I kind of got duped into that world and kind of lost track of who I was a little bit,
Yeah.
and kind of a bit like, well, this world isn't real, and you get a little bit hurt by it,
Yeah.
But then picked myself up after spending a few months on the couch with my mate playing games, getting away, wondering if you want to be back in the business again.
Yeah. And sorry, how old were you at this point?
21.
21.
And then Matthew Knowles, obviously, who I'd worked with before, Destiny Child's manager and Beyonce's dad, picked up the phone and said, hey, I want to sit down and talk to you. And basically he offered me a head of international job. So basically he wanted me to head up his management company for the international branch and report to him. Wow. So it went on to 7 years. 5 to 6 years, sorry, not 7 years. Basically, I was head of his international department.
Right.
So meaning that anywhere where Kelly, Beyonce, Solange, Michelle travelled in the world, I would have to kind of go and coordinate their diaries, schedules, and make sure the promo was right.
Right.
So that obviously gave me endless amounts of contacts, confidence, and I saw things that the most amazing things ever.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine this is near to the peak of the Destiny Child.
Yeah. Well, this is peak. This is when then they all became solo artists. Right. So I spent more time with Kelly, but I was given the responsibility to do everything, and it was an amazing responsibility and absolutely like one of the best times of my life. Yeah. To doing all that. So I'd done that for that period of time, and then obviously the girls then left Matthew, and at that point I wondered what I could do. So therefore I got advice by some of the girls and also family, and they were like, well, you always like to connect the talent and the brands together, and you've been doing that for Destiny Child and individually as well under Matthew, so why don't you go and start up a company to do that? So therefore that's where, and it was one of a friend of mine said, you always go above and beyond for people. So therefore I was like, okay, wow, that's a perfect name to do. Yeah, go above and beyond for people. Yeah. So therefore then all the artists I had bumped into along the way, whether it's Miguel or Kerry Hilson or whoever, all those artists, then they contacted me and wanted me to kind of sow the seeds for them internationally. Got it. So I continued to do basically the same thing I was doing for Destiny Child and all the different members. I continued to do the same thing, but do it for each individual artist. So I'd done that for a while. Right. And then after a while...
And is this when... had Above and Beyond been started as a company at this point?
Not really, no, to be fair. Everyone says, you should start a company with a business plan. And yeah, they're right, but...
That's not how you did it.
I kind of just carried on doing what I was doing with Destiny Child, but under a name with no real business plan. So I'd done that for a couple of years and focused on American artists, and it was great. You're making money from the label or direct from the talent or from a brand, and literally just creating opportunities. And touching base with contacts that I had previously, whether it's at L'Oreal or Puma or Nike or whoever, and bringing deals together for whatever talent came and engaged us. Yeah. And then after a while, I was like, why am I just concentrating on US artists? And at that point, I didn't think there was that much stars in the UK. When I say stars, transatlantic stars, people that could do well transatlantically. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
So at that point,
as in when you say people who could do well, do you mean UK people or British people?
UK artists.
I'm sorry, UK people or US people?
UK artists that could do well on an international scale.
Yeah.
I wasn't interested in people, a UK artist or talent just doing well in the UK.
Yeah.
Because if my contacts were worldwide, I'm shortchanging myself just focusing on one territory.
Right.
So then I decided to then kind of it was kind of lopsided, work with big talent from the US and then start focusing on emerging talent in the UK, not just artists. Could be a presenter, could be a model, could be whoever.
Right.
And learning the matrix and piecing them together and learning how each business works, learning how the film business worked, learning how the model industry worked, learning how TV presenters worked, just learning how footballers worked, sports people, just learning. I spent at least about a year and a half learning how those different worlds worked.
Sure.
So therefore then I could then pick the best new emerging people and represent them.
Right.
So, and utilising my contacts, obviously the contacts I've had with all the other talent I've worked with. So above and beyond, it's really become a lopsided because you're working with big American talent and then you're working with new emerging talent. And then what we then start having is big brands and big companies, whether it's River Island or ASOS or Google, approaching you to seed their campaigns or work with their campaigns.
Right.
So I was like, oh my God, I'm doing this, what's it called? So that's why I've been like, it's a creative agency.
Yeah.
So a creative agency is for creatives and then also you're working in brand partnership. So really that is my road, and it's been some of it's been trial and error, but a lot of it's been with a strong will of knowing you're doing the right thing, but you just have to kind of forge what that is.
Right.
So sometimes you're like, oh, I should do that. No, I should do. You know, there's something more you should be doing, and then you see other people out there, other companies, and then they kind of have more of the right idea, but then it helps you steer in that direction, but you still know there's something more.
Sure.
So, I think we're nearly there. Nearly,
Yeah.
I would say we're 3/4 of the journey there.
I mean, effectively, you're doing almost an uncharted territory, doing things in a different way, or things that maybe been done in the States or in other places, and then bringing it all together here.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's something that you set up, and it's going well. You mentioned you work with different people from the entertainment industry, whether that's football players or models, casting. Working as a casting agency almost.
Influencers, just people who we think are on the cusp or are next.
Yeah.
That's our thing.
I remember we did a show together called... What was it called?
What did we call it?
Acoustic Plus, I think it was. And that can be found on the Reload Sessions YouTube channel. And that was just people that we thought were going places and were doing well. And it was cool and it was great. It was really nice to see how you guys did things, because up to that point we hadn't really worked with a company like Above and Beyond before. And as I mentioned earlier, you guys were the ones who put us in the YouTube space where we have filmed a lot of content. So I mean, for us it was really interesting to see how you guys do your thing and how you connect with people, and just to see how you operate as a business. Another thing we did together would have been the Dido shoot. Do you remember that one?
Love that. One of my favourite shoots.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. And then we did the Janae one after that.
Janae Aiko. So I think all these things. Obviously, that was for Google, and it's like literally Google coming to us wanting to connect with the next generation.
Yeah.
And then our job is to then pick, people that we think can film and have a foot in that generation, which is like yourself, and then piece the talent together. So for us, it was quite simple. It's just obviously all the logistics of being in big organisations, sometimes they don't think about, but I think all those things are great.
Yeah. So I mean, we were talking about the brands that you work with, and obviously the kind of talent that you work with.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask you is, today in September 2016, who out there, whether it's a musician or it's a model, who is someone that you're really keeping your eye on and you're really excited what they'll do within the next 12 months, 24 months?
Wallace Day, who we take care of, and she's an actress and an influencer. She's going to be she's a 21, and she's probably going to be one of the. I don't even want to box her into being just an actress, but she'll be one of the top creatives. I can call Wallace a creative. One of the top creatives out there, because what she does well. She's a very good actress. And then what she also does, she's got a huge social media following. So, and then she models very well. So she's a modern day creative, young creative.
Right.
And they piece it all together. Then there's obviously artists like Izzy, who we all both know, and I think she's going to go on to do very, very well.
I mean, I always hear music on TV. They use it for adverts. I can't remember what company it is, but there's a company out there that uses White Tiger by Izzy Bizu.
Renault, I think, and then obviously they used her for the Euros, didn't they?
What did they use her for the Euros on? Was it one of the stations?
They used her. She sung the main theme for the whole Euros.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh,
she sounded amazing.
I've
So
that.
things like that, when you back a young artist, even when you're just helping them. And at that point, I know her manager really well. So you just helping them and believing them when no one else really does, and then seeing them do really well.
Yeah.
Again, it goes back to my beginning story of not really bothering if everyone else doesn't see it. You've got to see it yourself and trusting your gut.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
And having a filter, you've got to have your own filter. If it to those, whether it's a talent or creative or influencer, whoever. There's certain things that they do in a certain way that will make them a star in your own eyes.
Sure. I mean, that picks up on another point that I wanted to bring up, and that is when you mentioned Wallace Day, that she does different things. Do you think it is good enough in this day and age to just do one thing, to just be really really good looking, or just be a songwriter?
I think you just got to be. No, I don't think it's good enough to do one thing anymore. Unfortunately. I think you have to be multi-skilled, but you've got to be very good at everything. So therefore, you have to be a very good. If you're a model, you've got to be very good at modeling. If you're an actress, you've got to be very good actress.
Right.
And donate the time. Donate the time to your craft. That's the best advice I can give to anyone. Doesn't matter what you do, donate the time to your craft. Know everything about it. If you're an actress, you should know what's the cutting edge television shows are, or who the best actors are, or what programs out there that you can learn from. If you're an artist, same thing. If you're an influencer, what other influencers doing that I can do better? Just know your craft and do your craft very well.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned influencers there. I find that that's something that if you had spoken about an influencer maybe 5 years ago, it would have been maybe certain celebrities or people who are known for and this is a day before Instagram, or around when Instagram started, but influencers back then would have been people who are very different to the influencers today.
Of course.
How do you think what we have today has come about? Obviously, it's through social media and that desire for audiences watching things and wanting to be like those people. But how do you think that's changed? How do you think we've got there? That we have people now where you have companies who would rather use a YouTuber to advertise something.
Yep.
And what is the relationship? How important is that relationship between these influencers and the brands?
Well, from the brand point of view, they just want a direct relationship with their market.
Right.
So rather than a brand spending £500,000 to do a poster campaign throughout central London and hoping that people see that advert and hoping that they're going to go into the store, now you can kind of just get closer to that person. So if you've got an influencer that might have 500,000 followers or 250,000 followers, and you can pay them to do sponsored posts, that's getting closer to that target market, target audience. So I think it is an organic thing. It's a smart thing. So it's a smart thing, and everything's a lot more transparent. I've never understood the millions that brands put into advertising companies and put posters everywhere and spending millions and millions just in case somebody looks at it. And that, I think brands have to be a little bit more cautious now with their money, or they are more cautious with money. And I would, if I was a brand all day, just hit the target market directly for influencers.
It's almost as if that target market, you have everybody in one group, in one way to reach them, and doing it via an influencer is the most direct and most effective way of getting that done.
It makes the most sense financially as well. You could obviously spend less financially as well, and from the influencer point of view or the creative, well, let's kind of, the reason why people call themselves influencers is just they've got a lot of following, or they've got a popular following that everybody likes. So that's what they call the influential people. You know. But from an influencer point of view, if somebody's going to pay you £300, I done a deal this morning. It was a small level deal, but you know, a new brand wants to hire one of our influencers to post about their product, and we'll pay them £300 to £400 per post.
Yeah, it's insane.
I'm like, well, you know, 4 posts, and that's what most people will take home.
Yeah.
You know, so, but what they're getting in return for that is hitting her target audience.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a win-win situation. So right now, I think the boundaries are endless.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you mentioned a few £100 there, but you know, you do hear stories from people who are in the tens, thousands, 20,000 just for a post on Instagram. But, you know, like you said, well, from what I understood, what you're saying is brands wouldn't be doing that kind of stuff if it didn't make sense for them to do it. So there must be a need.
Totally makes sense. Totally makes sense.
So I wanted to ask you, you know, you mentioned, you told us a lot about your time working at one of the major labels. Today, has that shift between the artists, or has that power shift between the artist and the labels changed? Do labels have as much power as they used to? Or do they have more so? How does that work today? Do you think an artist can go and do what they want to do without even knocking on a label store?
Yes, and I think they're required to. I consult at the moment for Psycho in England, and which is Simon Cowell's company, and Motown, which is based in Los Angeles.
Right.
And I think labels now can't financially take risks.
Yeah.
So what they look for is people who has done, if you equivalize it to a baseball pitch, a baseball field, they want you to get to base 1 and 2 by yourself.
Right.
And build, so that involves building your audience, knowing who you are as an artist, maybe have some of the artistry as in terms of imagery done, know who you are.
Yeah.
Do a lot of gigs, have a little bit of a following, and then they jump in at like maybe on a journey between 2 and 3.
Right.
And then their job is to take it home.
Yeah. Whereas before, was it that they would jump in on 1, 2?
Before it was they would jump in at 1,
right, or
before you get to 1 at the base plate, and help you develop and take time with you, and then get you to 1 and baby you. And that, now that they haven't got the time to do that, they have got the time, they haven't got the money to do that.
Yeah.
And also, as a business, as a lot of people forget that music industry is, as a business, why wouldn't you go with somebody who's tested the market by themselves? So if someone's tested the market by themselves and they've got a substantial following, or you can see it have an indication of their following, why wouldn't you go with those people? Yeah.
And so if you had an artist today, what would the steps be?
We've got a couple of artists we're developing at the moment, but what I think labels are going back to, or some people are going back to, is development again. Yeah. So actually learning their craft, right? Learning how to talk to an audience on stage, learning about social, which is crazy in this generation, but a lot of artists don't know how to handle social media. Yeah, I mean that's something that you just following you, well, knowing you as a person and following you online, I know that's something you're very keen on, and you're very keen to keep that up. Well, you have to embrace it. Yeah, you have to embrace it. I'm not saying you have to be addicted to it, but you've got to understand it. Yeah, you've got to understand it, and I think any artist nowadays has to understand it, and then once they understand it, they've got to know how to utilize it for them. Right. I'm not saying they have to post that 10 pictures a day, but they have to know, okay, how can this help me reach the masses? I think you're silly if you're an artist and you don't use social, because it's direct consumer to consumer. You know, if I put out a song, if I build up a following, I can get it to X amount of people. Yeah, I mean, it comes back to that point of just having direct link to someone, and just connecting with them. And I think what talent have right now, and that's why you see people like Stormzy, Bryson Tiller before he signed to RCA, building up a brand by themselves, and a direct sales by themselves.
Yeah. What's his name? Macklemore. Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Build up a brand by themselves, build up a following by themselves, and then actually go to the label and say, no, I don't want to sign a record deal, but I'll partner with you. Keyword with all talent nowadays is partner. Right. So rather than a popular artist saying, I'll sign to you, like, no, I'll work with you and I'll have my own imprint. So therefore, when you don't want me anymore, I still have that and I can continue moving forward. So it's about partnership nowadays.
Yeah. So it's more of a symbiotic relationship where they benefit each other with the partnerships rather than someone owning one, the majority of what that person does and controlling what they do. Yeah,
absolutely. I think it's a key. It's about partnership. And then what's helping the artists at the moment is that they don't have to rely just on the record label at the moment. They can, and they do, have a brand involved. So you can be an artist and put out a record, and you can have a brand contract. Let's say H&M, and H&M can distribute your song via their whole network. Right. And that is as effective as doing it for a record label.
Right. I mean, it's almost similar to the whole. Similar, but not exactly the same, but similar to the whole. Netflix creating their own series or Amazon creating their own series.
Absolutely.
So you don't need a movie house to do it anymore, a production house.
Exactly. And they're successful.
Yeah.
They're giving people more value for their £9.99 a month.
Absolutely.
And if you know that you can pay that $9.99 per month, because Netflix 2-3 years ago used to pay and you see the same old movies and it got a bit boring.
Right.
Now you can see original content and the whole series put up there. You're like, yes. I've spent £9.99 on my money, and this feels good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazon does the same thing. Amazon, which is the biggest at the moment, bring out series every single week.
Yeah.
So they want people there binge watching.
Yeah, and just keeping them there.
Of course.
I wonder how that relates back to sales for Amazon specifically, back to sales of other products.
Well, it's all about it's not about the first tier product. So you might sign up to, you might get a Fire Stick, I guess. For Amazon, which they're smart because you obviously have to buy it to access their system.
Right.
But I mean, it's about then introducing them to the whole Amazon world.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you can buy Amazon Echo, or you can buy all these other things.
You can buy your grocery shopping.
Exactly. So brands like Amazon, where you'll be able to watch movies, and what will happen is they'll, in between advert breaks, they'll be able to offer you other products that you can buy, and it'll be delivered to your house within an hour.
Sure.
So who wouldn't want that?
It's a different way of consuming things, isn't it?
It's generation now. Yeah. So generation now, obviously, it's about things happening when they want it to happen. So if you are binging and watching the Amazon 12-part series, and then suddenly after the third episode pops up, hey, order popcorn and it'll be here within an hour.
Yeah.
They will press that button and it will come and it will be here in an hour and you'll be on the couch.
I mean, even the difference between having same-day delivery on Prime is insane.
Exactly.
Like, it blows my mind that I can find a book or a DVD or
anything,
and I can buy it in the morning and it'll be at my place by the afternoon.
Or what you'll start seeing is TV programs. I shouldn't tell them about Amazon's all secrets, but what you'll see is TV programs, and you'll see a certain product in the television program, and you're able to press the button and deliver it.
Right.
So that's what it's like anymore. There's the days of sitting down watching the television program and wondering, where did that guy get that T-shirt, or where did he get those trousers, or where did he get those shoes?
Yeah.
Gone. Or especially for women, I love that outfit that she's wearing, or whatever. Yeah. You can just press the button and then it'll be with you in an hour.
I mean, it's like you say, generation now, everything is on demand, whether that's from social media, connecting with someone straight away, or you often hear footballers, if there's been something in the press about they said such and such about a former manager, rather than calling a conference, just tweet and say, I didn't do this.
Straight away. Most of the time it's not them, it's their PR.
Sure. But it's a direct channel, and it's a way to get it out rather than having to go via BBC.
What we're doing on our talent development side is the young creators that we take care of. We just try to educate them of the mistakes and the things that can happen beforehand, maybe slowing it down a little bit and explaining the process of things.
Right.
So really what we're doing on the talent side is kind of going back to the old school way of spending time letting them know about the trade of whatever they're working in, and then going forward.
Is that almost like media training when you're
100%.
When you're a celebrity and you get trained to answer in interviews,
Yeah.
by saying the question in the response.
Yeah.
Is it almost like a new version of that?
Absolutely. Like, I obviously spent time obviously with Beyonce, Kelly, and Solange, and other celebrities
Yeah.
doing that, and seeing how they answered questions or not answered questions, or
Right.
the whole media thing. So I'm fully versed with that side of it. So now it's making sure I protect the talent that we work with, the new emerging talent who have never done any of this stuff before.
Yeah.
Who might just have lots of followers, and how do they know about media training?
Sure.
So therefore, my job is to implant 20 years of knowledge on their head.
Right. That's a quite a big job, but
It's a big job, but a lot of them, what they have, a lot of especially young influencers,
Yeah.
creatives, what they have is the incredible resources that other people maybe didn't have growing up.
yeah.
They've got everything now. If I
Yeah.
can tell talent to go home and look at a few videos, they can go to the exact video
Yeah.
and know it now. So while yes, it's quite daunting the amount of things they have to learn. However, they have everything to hand.
And I suppose at the end of the day, if you want to make it work, you will make it work.
If you want to make it work, you go the extra mile and you make it work.
Yeah.
And as I said to all young creatives, just be passionate about what you're doing.
Yeah.
And because we're really passionate about, and I'm especially really passionate about every single person we work with, whether they're a big massive star in the US or emerging creative over here.
Yeah.
So the one thing you want is them to be excited as well and passionate. And I hate the whole word management, because managers, like, word feels like you are the boss. My thing is you partner with talent.
Yeah.
So you sit down and you come up with ideas together and you both work towards that goal.
Sure.
So therefore, I do my bit, you do your bit, and we both get there.
Yeah. Inputting, your opinion, a bit of guidance, and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
working together.
because the creative, you got to remember, the creative, it's their career. They're in charge of everything. They will fire you if
Yeah, exactly.
it's not right. So you're not in charge. Yeah.
So I know we need to wrap up in a bit, but I just want to ask you just two more questions. First up would be, as a creative, let's say a young person, a young musician, or a model or an actor, how would you go by connecting with a brand in a legitimate way, not just using their thing, not something that has surface value, fake,
Yeah.
but in a legitimate way where the brand really has respect for you as a creative and wants you to do things with them?
Well, I think it's about not thinking about the brand and knowing yourself first and foremost. Like, you can't do any of this thinking about, I want that brand. You got to be like, know yourself, know your strengths, know your weaknesses, and you learn very quickly, especially social media, what people like or what they don't like about you, what you put out there.
Right.
But also know that what you put out there in the social world, whether you want to keep some of it private, as in terms of your private life. I always say to talent, keep your private life private.
Yeah.
And you can put your creative life out there, but you will be judged by everything you put out there.
Right.
So I just think, in a nutshell, be the truest version of what you can to yourself.
Right.
Put it out there, but be a little bit guarded as such. When it comes to connecting with brands will, again, they know what's true. So therefore, that's why I'm saying be organic. So therefore, put things out there that's true to yourself. So therefore, there's no point a model or actor putting things out there that they are not willing to do once a brand spots that.
Right.
So if you're a model and you want to work for ASOS, then take lots of images like ASOS do.
Right.
So therefore, and then tag them
Sure.
ASOS, so that ASOS then say, I like that girl, let's work with that person.
Yeah, it's one step closer to what the brand is already doing.
Yeah, there's no point if you're a model putting out, if you want to work for ASOS and you're putting out images that are nothing like ASOS. I'm like, it just doesn't make sense. If you're an actor or actress, I don't want to see loads of images of you up there. I want to see some your work. I want to see your show reel. I want to see you acting. I want to see what you're all about. If you're a photographer, I want to see your images, your images, and the process of your doing images. So what I'm trying to say is be the truest version of what you can be out there, because people will see through that. And kind of do your research. If you want to be a great actress or model or whoever, research that person that is at the top of the game and aim towards that and aim to surpass that. But do your research.
Yeah, put the work in. I mean, that encompasses pretty much the last question that I wanted to ask you, which basically was what makes a successful artist. Now, this is something that we ask everybody. We spoke to the head of marketing at Rode Microphones. We spoke to singer-songwriters from BIM. So, I mean, from what I understand from you, your answer would be to just be honest, put the work in, develop yourself as much as you can.
Be authentic. Be authentic.
Be authentic.
Be authentic, especially at the start of your career. Like, be 100%. Be authentic to yourself, and have I would say develop a third person kind of stance.
Right.
So be able to step back and look at how other people are looking at you.
Right.
And be very critical with that. And be not too critical, because a lot of things we do are great. But be able to be okay. That didn't work. Okay, that didn't work because that. Like, be able to connect the dots forward.
Right.
So therefore you can see, okay, if I put that image up, that's what the reaction I'm going to get.
Yeah.
Or if I'm a footballer, if I behave in that certain way, then I'm going to get that result. Or if you're an athlete, as we know, athletes, and we take care of a few, you have to put an insane amount of work in. But you can't tell people that I want to go to the party as well. You have to be able to be like, well, I'm an athlete and I have to wake up at 6 o'clock every morning and run for maybe 2 hours before I go to school or college.
Yeah. I
can't go to party and I can't party as well, because if you're not authentic, then you get caught out anyway.
Yeah,
I think.
And it's just not going to work.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I've seen both sides of the coin, and I've seen people that faked it, and it just doesn't work.
I remember, I know we got to get going, but I remember you saying one thing to me a few years ago, and that was just how hardworking Beyonce was and is, I suppose. Yeah, well, she's the landmark, really, and shaped everything I've done, I guess, because, I see people go crazy about her every single day. Yeah. But what they forget, and obviously I'm privileged to work with her for a sufficient amount of time, but what people don't see is the hard work. They only see the fancy gloss. They don't see like the person that, I always remember after every single show. I remember we was in a show in Paris. After every single show, her looking at the videotape of the show that she had just come off stage doing, staying on the coach, marking down all the things that she needs to do better, and then going to sleep, and then the next morning before the show speaking to everybody about the show. And I'm like, well, she didn't need to do that, but she does it. And I'm like only artists like that or talent like that who are very disciplined about what they do, they win. And it doesn't matter that's the same thing whether if you're a model, if you're an actor, I kind of use the same values on everything, on every type of creative. Yeah. If you put in the hard work, you'll get there. Yeah. You 100% will get there. Because you get luckier. The harder you work, the luckier you do get. Yeah, you hear that. I mean, there's no shortcut. And trust me, I've tried to do some shortcuts, but there's no shortcut for hard work. Sure. You just need to put it in. Yeah, you have to put it in, but you have to do it with a plan as well. Yeah. So there's no point just working hard. Don't get me wrong. You can work very hard, but it needs to have a direction. Yeah, you got to have a direction. You've got to know, okay, what am I aiming towards? What am I doing? And that all what I try to do is help those people. Help those people, or spot those people that I believe are hardworking and can be the next big thing in whatever industry, and help them get there. And then vice versa, help the brands connect with those people. Right. Because the brands don't know who's authentic or not. Well, some of them do, but they can find it hard. So therefore, then if there's an agency that can help connect the dots, then that's us. Yeah. Brilliant. Okay, Darren, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to us today. It's been a real pleasure. I mean, obviously, we have a friendship over a working relationship as well, but it's been really insightful hearing everything and seeing how you went from the start to where you are now. And I wish you and everybody above and beyond the best of luck. Thank you very much, and wish all you guys, as always, friends and family, so wish you guys the most success, and it's good to see the evolution of Reload and everything else you guys are doing. Thank you, Darren. Brilliant. All right, mate, I will speak with you soon. I guess it's proof of who I am. So there you have it, guys. Fantastic advice from our friend Daren Dixon. A massive thank you to him for joining us on the podcast. And if you found this podcast interesting, why not share this with one of your friends or someone that you think would benefit from it? Or if you have any suggestions as to who you'd like to see feature on artist development, let us know in the comments below. Thanks again, guys, and I will see you next time. Or it's me you're gonna lose.